Hello everyone, welcome back to Crafts by the Bow. Last week for my Facebook Live I made these two cards and I only have scraps left over from the cards and I wanted to use them up. And so I thought I would make just a different kind of a card today using little bits and pieces. I have a little piece of card from a sentiment, I have some of the plant pots, some of the leaves. I've already trimmed one little piece to see how big a piece of designer series paper I could get. It was actually this piece and I wanted to be able to use the largest piece I could but still have a plant to cut out as well. So I managed to get this little 2-inch piece and I've got some of the base card left, some of this cinnamon cider left, and I've got a couple of little pieces of the grey granite, a little piece of Bermuda Bay and a larger piece of basic white. The only stamp set I have is this one, which I used this week on my Facebook Live. It's from the Sentimental Rose card kit. And so I thought we'd just have fun and see what we could make with little scraps. And I think sometimes we end up throwing these kind of pieces away, but really they do come in for another card and the paper is so pretty you don't want to waste any. So we'll just see how we go. I don't quite know what the card is going to finish up like. I have a basic idea, but I don't know what it will look like when it's quite finished. So the card base that I have, if you notice from the cards last week, they were portrait way with the fold at the top, and that's what I have left. It's 4 1/4 by 11 and I've scored it at 5 1/2 already. And if you check my blog, thecraftsbythebow.blogspot.com, you'll find all the sizes on there, so don't worry about writing it down just at the moment. I've got my paper trimmer and what I'm going to do is cut a piece off from the front, and then this piece we're going to rotate it so it makes a little card front here. And I already know I've actually put a little mark, and I did that just so that I knew whether my designer series paper was going to fit, but I've put a little mark here and that's where we're going to cut it, and we're going to cut 3 inches off. So this piece here that we cut off will be 3 by 4 1/4. Okay, so I'm just going to put it in and I'm going to line it up. Oops. I always forget, this is my daughter's paper trimmer and she still has the scoring blade at the bottom, and I've forgotten a couple of times this week and ended up scoring instead of cutting. But these are my last few days here in Ontario, so once I get home I'll have different supplies, but I've really enjoyed crafting while I've been here. Now this piece here, let's measure that so you just knew how big that was. See, it's 2 1/2 and then there's the 3-inch piece that we cut off. Okay. And with the grey granite, I've trimmed one of the pieces I had. This was one long piece and it wasn't quite the right length to go across the front. It was a bit too small. So I've chopped it in half, and this little piece here is 2 1/4 by 4, and that's going to be just a little layer. I'm going to use my stamping steel and add that. It's been really beautiful weather here in Ontario. I know they've had atrocious hot weather in Alberta and lots of forest fires. My heart really goes out to those people, because the forest fires and the heat is just too much. Okay, now here's that little designer series piece of paper I had. Really, I would have liked it to go and have the pattern piece, but it just wasn't big enough to go that way. So I've got the little wood effect. And that's cut at 2 by 3 3/4. Let's just get rid of that little bit of extra glue. Just rub it with your finger and it will come off. I don't have my glue eraser here with me, so Just rub it off with your finger. Okay, and that makes that first little flap. Now that piece that we cut off is going to rotate round and become the front of the card here. And on the inside we're going to put that basic white, and I'm going to put it in first of all. It's got a little bit of glue on it from last week, so I'm going to actually use that as the back and put my glue onto that side. Sometimes when I make these kind of cards, this piece I don't put as a plain piece of card. I use maybe a designer series paper or an embossed piece of card. But for today, I don't have an embossing folder with me, and I don't have a cotton emboss machine, so it's going to be just the basic white. Okay, now this is the piece that we cut off. That's going to go here, and this is the other piece of the grey granite. And you can see that I've put little score lines down. I wanted a little bit of texture, and because I don't have the embossing machine with me, I thought if I just put the lines down, that would give me just a tiny bit. So all I did was I popped this in here, and every ½ inch, I just ran the score blade down. Moved it along ½ inch, ran the score blade down. So I ended up just with lots of lines, almost like a timber plank kind of effect. But you can certainly leave it plain. You can use designer series paper, whatever you have. But in my scraps, this is what I had. Okay, let's make sure we've got a nice border all the way around there. Okay, then this is going to attach here, and you only need to attach this part of it. You don't need to glue it down all the way. So I'm just going to pop glue on there. You can use your liquid glue. You could even use tear and tape. Whatever you feel most comfortable with. Okay, now I'm just going to line this up. Make sure that I get it on straight, and I just want to have a little border at this right hand side. These are 1/4 inch borders, so I'm just going to make it so that it's the same. It's 1/4 inch, and then bottom and top sort of evenly spaced. There we go. So that's our card base already finished. Let's pop that out of the way, because now we're going to do the little piece that goes on top. Let me see. Actually, I might just need to bring that back. I'm not quite sure whether this little piece of scrap is going to fit, if it'd be too long. Oh, no, actually, fits really nice on there. If I put my sentiment on there, and then we can cut out some of these little pots to put on the top. So I've got the sentiment ready. I'm going to use the best wishes, and I've got my memento black, and it's already on here. This is quite a small sentiment for that length of card. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to stamp it in the middle. Oh, I'm going to have to stand up just so that I can see where the middle is without you just watching the top of my head. Okay, I'm going to stamp it right in the middle. Let's see. And you could stamp again and at this side, but I think I'm going to leave it just like that, and I might put some of those little basic rhinestones on that we have left over. But if you wanted it to be even a little bit more masculine without any bling, you could do that extra stamping, or you could even put twine round as well. I think that's all the stamping I'm going to do today. And then I'm going to attach that onto here. Yep, I like that. I think we should have like a monthly challenge, see what we've all made from scraps. Because I'm sure I throw away lots of bits that I really don't need to. I need to be using them instead. Maybe I'll try and do one of my monthly videos as a scraps video. Just give us some ideas and get some little bits and pieces used up. Okay, now I only have one of the leaves that are cut out. I do have I do have 3 of these little green pots, and I've got a couple of these pots left. So I'm just going to fussy cut a couple of them out. This big plant pot to start with. I don't really know what I'm going to use, but if there's something that I don't use on the outside, I can always put it in the inside. I just don't have any more plants to cut out. I do love this beautiful plant set. I think it's quite a popular one as well. I've seen lots of other demonstrators and some of the big demonstrators using it for like a monthly class, and that's maybe a bit big. Let's have a look. We'll see. When I've got the leaves cut out, we'll know a bit more. Okay, so I've got 2 lots of leaves left. And for this one, I'm not going to cut all of it. I think I'm just going to cut this 3-leaf piece, because otherwise all my plants will be a bit too big. So I'm going to cut that one off, and I'm just going to fussy cut round, leave a tiny little edge. If I'd planned it a bit more carefully last week when I was doing Facebook Lives, I could have saved extra bits as well, because I know I threw a few pieces of designer series paper away, and they might have been just enough for cutting a plant out or something. But that's okay. We're using up some scraps now. Okay, let's have a little look. I think I'm going to put that really big one in the middle. It does seem quite big, but I'm going to cut it all out. If it makes it too big, we can always cut a few of the leaves off as well. I'm not taking a great deal of care cutting out. There are dies that cut some of these plants out, but they don't cut all of them. I know they definitely cut this one, and I can't remember which other ones they cut. And I haven't got the dies with me, so I can't even check for you. By the time you see this video, I should actually be on the aeroplane going home, because we're going home this afternoon, and so I'm making my video just a little bit early. We've had a lovely 3 weeks here in Ontario, but it's gone so quickly. And I hadn't seen my daughter for 3 years, so it's been really nice to be over here. Okay, let's have a little look. Oh, that one is big, isn't it? It doesn't matter if it goes over the edge of this little piece, because there's still lots of card base around there. And then here's that 3rd one. Let's have a look. I wonder if I could make it so that this one's in the front, or... Let's see what it's like with all 3 the same pot. And I like that, but I actually love this terracotta one. I think that's my favourite one. I'm going to go with that one. So if I line these up just towards the edge, and then I'm going to put my terracotta one right in the middle, and I'm actually going to put it on dimensionals just to make it pop up a little bit. Let's take the back ends off. Let's try and pop it in the middle. And I'm going to use the sentiment as a kind of a shelf. There we go. And let's put these other 2 on as well. And I'll pop those on dimensionals as well. We only need 1 on the back of those. I'm just going to make it so the pot's right on the edge, like that. And the same over here, just right on the edge. And I think I'm going to use the liquid glue. Let's pop these ones, the leaves, down with the liquid glue. Let's see if I can make it go a little bit to the left like that. Okay, so I don't need glue over the whole leaf. Oop, that was a bit much glue. Spread it out a little bit. Pop it in the middle there. Okay, and let's do the one at this side. I haven't got one part of this suite, which is the macrame embossing folder, but I think that's going to be on my next order. I'm really enjoying the whole suite. Okay, and I'm going to chop a little bit off there. It's just a little bit too long. And I'm going to pop this one up on dimensionals as well. And that way it looks like it's just a little bit higher up or further forward than these two plants. I got the mini dimensionals. Let me have a look. Okay. Let's pop a little one at the on the sides. If you don't have the mini ones, you can always cut one of the bigger ones in half, or even use the edge pieces. Okay. Take the rest of those backings off. I think that's all of them. That one doesn't seem very sticky. I'm just going to pop a bit of glue on there. I think I've maybe taken the backing off as well. There we go. Let's pop that one there. And it's just a little bit higher, but because it's sort of not flat like the other two, that just gives it a bit more dimension. There we go. Okay, so let's pop these, all these little tiny pieces. I can throw these away now. They're too tiny even for me to use. And let's just see. I could, if I'd had some more, I could have cut one of these out and maybe like this little 2-leaf piece, and I could put that on the inside. But there's my scraps card for today. So I hope you like that one. I hope you'll give it a go, and we'll try and use more scraps up as well. Thanks so much for watching me, everybody. Have a wonderful week, and I'll see you all again really soon. Take care.